The catch is made by DJ Moore, still going across midfield, inside the 40, the 30.
This is Desmond Johnson on the Bleav in Carolina Panthers podcast, here on the Bleav Podcast Network, the #1 podcast network for professionals. Do you believe? If you enjoy the show, please subscribe and rate the show on iTunes. We're available in your favorite directories: iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, Stitcher, Luminary, and TuneIn. You can also find us at Bleav.com and at Bleav Podcast on Twitter. And welcome into a brand new edition of the Bleav in Carolina Panthers podcast here on the Bleav Podcast Network. Desmond Johnson here with Sports Illustrated beat writer for the Carolina Panthers, Schuyler, Callihan, and the Panthers' all-time leading rusher, Jonathan Stewart. It's always open mailbag, so if you're watching us on YouTube, at youtube.com/Tobacco Road Sports Radio, or if you're watching it across the Facebook watch feed, the Twitter feed, you can actually type in your comments, your hot takes, anything that you're seeing from whatever we're talking about today. And if you're lucky, we'll get a chance to comment on it. Of course, this is Super Bowl 57 week. We got a Super Bowl 57 preview. We'll hear from Jay, Stu, and Schuyler in terms of their keys to victory for both the Eagles and the Chiefs. Should be a good one this upcoming Sunday on Fox. We've got some news and notes, Panther news and notes. We've got some new hires, guys, some new coaching hires that we can talk about here, especially a really good one, I think, a defensive coordinator. We'll get into that in just a bit as well. If you guys have anything over the weekend that you're upset or mad about, of course, you know, around here it's tell them why you're mad.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you why we mad, son.
So you can comment on that as well if anything came across that that you want to discuss on that note. And anything else we can get to from the – I remember what it was. With it being Super Bowl, I want to get your opinion on what is the greatest Super Bowl halftime show that you can think of, that you can remember. Because I've been having this debate with folks ever since last year. And to me, it kind of comes down to one or two, but I want to hear from you guys and hear what you think. And of course, if you're watching or listening, you can chime in on that as well. And those comments will apply down below. Before we get going, though, a quick word from our friends over at Bet Online. Football is back, and Bet Online remains your #1 source for all your football betting needs this season. You'll find the latest odds, matchup info, player news, and game trends. And as your continued source for all sports wagering info, Bet Online features live betting, free contests, live scores, and giveaways all season long. Always the fastest and easiest way to bet all your favorite sports and events like MLB, MMA, tennis, boxing, and even golf. Head to betonline.ag to join and receive your 100% welcome bonus with your first deposit. Make sure to use the promo code Bleav, BLEAV, to receive your rewards. Bet Online, where the game starts, and where we should probably start today is with Panther news and notes. Guys, of course, I'm sure you've heard. We talked a little bit about Deuce Staley last week as it was first coming in. We'll circle back around to him in a bit. But Schuyler, you had reported yesterday in your coaching staff tracker that said all Panthers Fan Nation. You can go to si.com and search Panthers to get to this stuff here. The staff's starting to come together. And I got to say, I'm actually pretty impressed. They did hire Evero. That was officially announced Sunday. One of the 9 candidates the Panthers interviewed for the head coaching job. What can you tell us a little bit about Evero and his background?
Yeah, well, I think this is a really good fit for Carolina because it's a young guy that's kind of on the up and coming. He's going to be a head coach one day. So how long Carolina's fortunate to have him, I'm not really sure. But, I mean, he's got a really good background. He's coached with Dom Capers. He's coached with Vic Fangio. So, I mean, he's got some of those Carolina backgrounds a little bit. And I'm interested to see, and I think a couple of other guys in the Charlotte media have mentioned this too, it may not be a big surprise to see Dom Capers actually return in some capacity to Carolina, which I think would be really interesting. So he runs kind of a 3-4 base defense. So I personally think that fits a lot of what this team really needs to run. I don't really think it's fit to run a 4-3 as currently constructed. So we'll see. I think it could also help bring down, again, like I've mentioned a million times, Jeremy Chin down into the box. So I think you're going to see Jeremy Chin really take off in this defense. I think Brian Burns is really going to be effective in a good way in this defense. And I don't know really what they're going to do with a guy like Yetur Gross-Matos, because he's kind of he was supposed to be a pass rusher, but he's kind of been more of a run support guy. And I don't know if he's really going to be an end in this defense or if they'll kick him more inside as an interior rusher. I really don't know how they'll handle that, but I think Evero is a terrific hire. And again, don't know how long he's going to be here, but there's a lot of people around the league that really respect him.
Seems like he's a Vic Fangio disciple. It sounds like, from everything I've been gathering, like he's basically just getting Fangio, but a younger version of him, which sounds great. Stu, your thoughts on this when you heard it over the weekend that former Denver Broncos defensive coordinator is coming over to the Panthers? What were you? I thought of you as soon as I saw it. I was like, oh, Denver Bronco. Yeah, Stu about this.
Yeah, man. I'm just glad that he ain't got to wear that blue and orange, welcome to the good side.
Yeah.
No, I think it's a great, everything Schuyler was saying. I think a 3-4 defense definitely goes hand in hand with what the Panthers, seek out to do. Get some. I think what they want to be is, fast, explosive, and be able to cover ground. And I think with the players that we have, the depth that we do have, that kind of fits, what we have. And to your point, though, I'm not really sure what they're going to do with your tour, because I feel like, when you do have a 3-4 defense, you're going to definitely need to have, a nose. We got that. DB, Derek Brown out there taking on 2 to 3 guys all year. So he showed his presence there. So, I feel pretty confident there. But when it comes to the 2 defensive ends, you really need somebody that's kind of got some bulk to them to really anchor down, at that position on the D ends and 3-4, because it's crucial for the running game. Being able to make sure those linebackers are free to, not having to shed blocks every play, and just being available to be where they're supposed to be to make plays. But I have the utmost confidence that they'll figure it out, have a plan. How I felt, about this weekend and the coaching staff hire already is, I feel like we got a top 10 coaching staff already. Just the mindset that's shifted in the Carolina Panthers organization right now. It's exciting. Getting guys in here that know ball, getting guys that are young, motivated. That's huge. So exciting times ahead.
Yeah, when I first saw it, I went to go check him out to see his background and everything else and what he typically runs. It sounds like he runs a lot of defensive backs. It feels almost like he runs a lot of dime type packages. So there's like 6 DBs on the field. And I started thinking, I'm like, Frankie Louvu and Jeremy Chin will be monsters in this defense if they use them right, because there's not really positions once you get past the front. It's like kind of just
hybrid.
Yeah, and like that's Jeremy Chin.
Especially how Frankie played last year.
Mm-hmm.
There was a lot of times where I'm just like, man, where'd he come from?
Yeah.
like
all year. Yeah, he had 111 tackles. I didn't even realize it until I saw a graphic this weekend.
And maybe Stu can back this up or go against it. But I feel like in a 3-4, you can probably disguise things a little more with a guy like Frankie, who can be hand in the dirt, stand up edge, or he could be an outside or an off ball backer. Like, I feel like you can do so many different things to confuse an offense.
Yeah, man. With the 3-4 base defense, you could come out all of a sudden, you're showing 4-3 under, over, and not really sure who the down guy is on the line of scrimmage. So it really kind of messes with the blocking schemes, right? And like who the mic is, and are they running a true 3-4 right now? Like the Pittsburgh Steelers do it really well. They do it. It's their DNA. Got guys walking around, standing up, and if you want to play quick as an offense, you can't necessarily do it unless you have a quarterback and a center that's on top of their front. And so, it definitely causes confusion. I hated playing 3-4 teams. having 4 linebackers and figuring out which one was rushing and which one wasn't was kind of a pain in the butt.
Seems
Plus,
like
you gotta think,
we
too,
always
like-
had trouble with 3-4s. It feels like. Go ahead, Schuyler.
Yeah, plus, like, with the 3-4, I mean, this was already probably going to be a need anyway. But, I mean, you feel like since they're going to have extra DBs on the field, they're probably going to add to that corner room and probably get for safety because you've got to have depth there. We saw towards the end of the season, like, okay, Dante Jackson was hurt about midway through the year, earlier in the year, and he was done for the year. J.C. Horn got hurt. I mean, they were banged up. They had to bring in, Josh Norman. I mean, he obviously didn't play a whole lot, but C.J. Henderson's a guy that I feel like they still believe in, but I don't know. Maybe that changes with the new staff. I mean, again, who knows? But I think they definitely need to get another corner, another safety. Again, that was probably going to be something they addressed anyways. But now that you're probably going to this 3-4 defense, go ahead and mark it down. They're gonna have to do that.
Yeah, because especially for the amount of secondary players you need to have out there to kind of really run it effectively. And plus, I would imagine you need a certain type. You need like a certain type of guy to really run this type of offense. Willie Smith.
You'll definitely need. Hold on, you'll definitely need depth because I will say, when you are playing a 3-4 defense, if there is a interior guy that is not on the field, and you have a backup, that is a true weakness, especially when it comes to the run game and the point of attack. So.
Willie, super fan for Bleav in Panthers, is with us every week. He asked, how does Shaq fit into this scheme? I'd imagine he'd be one of those middle linebackers, and probably would flourish, to be honest. Kind of imagine him as like one of the nickel linebackers, except he's going to have a linebacker to his left and he's going to have a linebacker to his right. You could put Brian Burns on that outside edge, standing up, which is a scary thought. Have him rush from that end, get another rush on the other side, maybe in free agency or something, maybe in the draft. They got the pieces here to really do it. I'm a little curious about Derek Brown playing nose guard in a 3-4. I don't know. Does he have experience doing that? I don't know if he did that at Auburn or.
They've done a little bit under Phil Snow, not a whole lot, but they did have some variations of it. And then I think he did do it a little bit at Auburn. I mean, he's a guy I'm not really concerned about just because of how strong he is. I mean, he's just.
He's used to taking on 2 dudes, like 2 dudes usually for him.
You got to be a guy that's able to eat up 2 blocks every play, and I feel like he can do that.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, he's kind of played everywhere at linebacker. I mean, he's played inside, he's played outside. So I mean, he can fit anywhere. But the question is he even going to be here? Because as we've talked about many times before, they're going to try to look for ways to create cap space. He's probably one of the guys that they can cut and save millions of dollars. I think it's like $12 or $13 million that they can save by letting him go, which sucks because, I mean, Shaq's one of the leaders, the vets of this team that's kind of been through all of it, right? He's here with Rivera. He was here through all that success and then the rebuild that happened with Rule or whatever happened with Rule. And then
now we call it a rebuild. Whatever that was.
He's kind of like one of the last OG guys standing around,
I think he is. Like, I'm trying to think of who else is still on this team from the
AJ Jansen, though.
Jansen's still there. Who else? I think he might be now because they cleared the whole defense out. Remember in Rule's first offseason or preseason.
I think that
offensively,
that's pretty much it.
Maybe Taylor Moton. He was there kind of at the end of Rivera, I guess. So
Dante was maybe 1 year under Rivera.
Yeah. So, I mean, so you're really talking about kind of seriously moving on to another era if you let go of Shaq. I wonder if maybe he'll do like maybe an extension restructure. I don't know if there's money left to do it with. I don't know. I don't really know his plans or what he'd like to do, but
I can tell you that if you're going to go 3-4 defense, it's very important that you have 2 inside linebackers and a nose tackle. So whatever they do, they better choose wisely because it's an investment. At the end of the day, if you're choosing to go 3-4, you better make sure out the gate you got 2 inside backers and a nose tackle.
It's the middle. It's the middle of that defense. That's the strength of it. Yeah. So
that's pretty much what I was taught, kind of like growing up in football, is like when we switched from a 4-3 to a 3-4 in my high school. That's pretty much all they said was like if we're strong up the middle. You've got extra guys on the outside when you're in a 3-4. Rush them to the outside because not only, number one, do you have extra defenders, but you also have the boundary too. So like
Mhm.
you're going to have extra help, but you don't have that help up the middle. You're in deep crap.
Yeah.
So Evero, the new defensive coordinator, Deuce Staley. We still haven't heard exactly what role he's been hired to on this coaching staff. I don't know if he's going to be offensive coordinator or I've seen running backs coach. That's what he was in Detroit, if I'm not mistaken, which is where he was coming from. I don't know if he's just coming over in a lateral move or if they're making him something higher. Have you heard anything since the weekend, Schuyler, regarding Deuce and his role?
No, we probably won't until we get a little deeper into this coaching stuff because I feel like they want to see how everything shakes out. So if they get a certain guy as an offensive coordinator to agree to terms, then that's going to change his role to either being a running backs coach, assistant head coach, whatever the case may be. Or if they can't get some of their top 2 or 3 guys on that OC list, then they start maybe looking at other running back coaches and having, even though he will still have a say in the running backs, regardless of what happens, he will still have, some work with that group. But they may bring in a running backs coach specifically so that he and Deuce can work hand in hand as he's also coordinating the offense. So I don't know. I think either way, we may see Deuce end up being that associate head coach role. I think that may be one of the things that kind of brought him here to help kind of sweeten the deal a little bit because obviously Detroit wanted to keep him. And if other teams knew that he was willing to go somewhere else, I'm sure they would have probably paid a lot of money to him. If
you want to kind of see Deuce's coaching style, I completely forgot. Detroit was on Hard Knocks, I think preseason. And there's some stuff back and forth with it was really good stuff with him and who's the defense? Aaron Glenn. That name might sound familiar to folks up here where I am in the Triad. He Wake Forest standout linebacker. I think he was the linebackers coach for Detroit. And they had this like kind of going back and forth in practice type of thing where you kind of see behind the scenes or whatnot. I liked him then. I had no idea he'd even be a possibility to come to Carolina at that point. And that was August. So like watching that. So if you want to check him out, go back into HBO Max and check out Hard Knocks, the Detroit Lions ones where Deuce was at. We got some more to get to here. If you've got some comments on the hires, Evero, the new defensive coordinator, Deuce Staley in some capacity on the offensive staff, probably by the end of the week, or really probably after the Super Bowl. We'll probably know a little bit more. It sounds like the Super Bowl is holding up hires for not just us, but like 4 other teams. It just feels, I mean, either looking at the Eagles staff or because I'm looking at the Chiefs, I'm like, well, is there somebody on the Chiefs that everybody's clamoring for? Because Eric Bieniemy's been in this rotation for like 3 years now and hadn't gotten a job yet. Meanwhile, the Eagles, it seems like every person on their staff is attached to somewhere or something. Is that what kind of vibe is, that somebody from the Eagles might end up coming over? Because you also reported that Jim Bob Cooter's actually been requested for an interview for the OC, the Jaguars offensive coordinator, correct?
Yeah, he's definitely in the mix. But yeah, I mean, there's guys like Brian Johnson up in Philly that I know Carolina would love to speak with, and for other guys like Shane Steichen, who interviewed here for the head coaching job, he's getting interest from I believe it's Arizona. I can't remember off the top of my head for the head coaching job there. And it's really weird because Arizona and Indy, at one point, it kind of felt like their search was kind of gaining some steam, and then all of a sudden, both of them just kind of hit a wall. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if it's both of them waiting for the Super Bowl because obviously Shane Steichen's in play. I really don't know. Jonathan Gannon, their defensive coordinator, might be of interest for somebody. And Lou Anarumo, the Bengals defensive coordinator, I know he's kind of tied to Arizona. So he may be the front runner there until the Super Bowl, and then things may change. But yeah, I mean, it's kind of crazy. It seems like these jobs have gotten filled a lot quicker in the past.
And we were talking about that when Rule got hired, it was like early January. We're in February now, and there's still openings.
That was a very accelerated search.
Yeah, that was like, ooh, and they just like
picked it was way too fast. It ended up being the results of the search are pretty much exactly what happened.
So we'll give you some more news on the Panthers hiring as we go. It'll probably go a little bit quicker after the Super Bowl is over. We'll get to Super Bowl predictions, keys to the games and stuff in just a bit. Before I get into the Super Bowl halftime debate here, anybody got anything you mad about from the weekend? Anything that went down that you got to get off the chest? This is our stress reliever. Anybody got anything?
I'm good right now.
I was feeling pretty good this weekend. Well, I had Carolina Duke this weekend, but I go against Royals basketball. My boys are struggling right now. I don't know what's going on. They don't want to pass to each other. Like they forget Armando Baycott's out there. Like we lost to 7 freshmen for Saturday at Duke. Like, ugh. Go ahead, Stu.
Yeah, I don't feel like I'm mad about some. No.
I mean, maybe if we hear it.
Yeah, I'm gonna tell you why we mad, son.
Like, give me some. I thought I'd be mad at the Pro Bowl stuff. Like, why are we even doing this? But everywhere I looked, people liked it.
Was pretty dope.
Yeah, people liked the whole thing.
It makes sense. Let the guys have fun. Don't get them hurt. And
I mean, unless you Jalen Ramsey, who apparently forgot for a minute they were playing flag football. Was that Tyreek Hill that he hit in that corner?
He tried to tackle my man.
It took me back to like 8th grade. Like, oh, I thought we were playing tag. What are we doing?
Yeah, how about Brian? Let's talk about that. Brian Burns. We're not mad about this or anything. This is just happy. I guess we're just happy today, y'all. No, we ain't mad.
I don't have a happy thing.
Go get Monday.
But Brian Burns, he imitates the Spider-Man when he does the sack and everything. When he did the climbing over the wall event and all that, the obstacle course. He really looked like Spider-Man. Like he was like jumping over the walls, like he was jumping over buildings.
He got one of them inflatable joints in his backyard. He's been practicing that thing for like 3 weeks.
You think he's been practicing?
Oh yeah, man. You can rent one of them joints. He was like, I got Pro Bowl coming up in 2 weeks.
Hey, BB better not be having you better not have no blow up thing in the backyard practicing.
But from everything I saw, Pro Bowl weekend was a success. It sounded like the announcers were having a fun time. I was looking at it off and on while I was going in and out of the room over the whole weekend. So I'd walk in and it'd be like dodgeball going on. I'm like, what is going on? And then I'd walk out. I'd come back in. It was the quarterback skills thing where they're throwing at the moving, what are they called? Dollies or whatever, dummies, like moving around. And
I know why I'm mad.
Oh, you got one?
Yeah, I'm gonna tell you why we mad, son.
Last night, 30, the Ravens documentary with Shannon Sharp, Ray Lewis.
Ooh.
It was really good, but then I realized the Grammys was on. I'm a big music guy. Like the turn of events, like the Grammys happening. So I gotta see what's happening with the Grammys. And watch 30 for 30 later. I know how to click on that. Go to ESPN, find it.
Pull up the ESPN.
But as far as rewatching the Grammys, it's not totally accessible like that. Pretty sure there's a way.
Didn't they do that?
So they had it on at the same time.
Yeah.
So I think we gotta plan better. Networks. Okay, we got to plan better.
What network was the Grammys on? Was it CBS?
CBS.
Okay, because Disney owns ESPN, so that's ABC stuff. But I heard they did a huge pop celebration or something for the 50 year.
It was off the chain. Man. Boy. I think
you can watch it on Hulu. I think you can get it on Hulu. I'm gonna check it later tonight, see if I can find it.
Just you can pull it up. It's probably on YouTube somewhere. But DJ Khaled, Jay-Z, Rick Ross, Lil Wayne, Friday, John Legend did an 8-minute segment of pretty much just their song. They
got Jay-Z to come to the Grammys.
Oh yeah, Jay-Z was Beyonce.
She won something.
Broke the record for winning the most Grammys. So
wow,
it was popping yesterday, man. That's 50th anniversary for hip hop.
I'm gonna have to check this
out. Man.
Tyler King says also, if you're a NASCAR fan, the Clash at the Coliseum was on last night too. I saw a little bit of that. They were running the race cars around.
Shout out to Kyle Busch. He came in second. He stayed doing some nice things, keeping his racing career up and up.
Aaron, I feel you, bro. Tar Heels lost, so I'm mad about that. I am too, because we didn't play well, and neither did they. Like, if it was an ugly game, we should have won because we're the older ones. Like, they're all 17-year-old kids, and we ended up. I don't even know how we lost this game, like looking back on it, but we'll see him again. It's the same squad that looked just like this in February last year and then ended up going on a tourney run. Ain't worried yet. I probably should be, but
You should be.
be honest, after last year, after how they handled Duke last year, Coach K's last home game and ruining that whole celebration afterwards, where Coach K literally had to tell the fans to shut up because when he was trying to talk on the mic, you can't buy that as a Carolina fan. And then beating them in the Final Four, never seen each other before, and beat K into retirement. Anything after this is gravy at this point for a little bit. Like, we're still kind of living on that. But
So
Carolina,
you got about a year, huh?
yeah, you can't get swept the next year, Carolina. Like, don't do that. Like that, don't ruin this. So
I know about that now.
Woo, here we go.
Yo, I'm gonna tell you why we mad, son. I'm gonna tell
I
you why
thought if
we
I let
mad,
y'all
son.
marinate for a little bit, that something come up, some kind of.
You help me out on this one. I don't give. Hold on. Let me pause. Make sure I get the right words. I don't care about blue bloods and their feelings. I just don't. And I've heard it from North Carolina fans, Duke fans, Kansas fans. I just don't. And
How you mean?
You know why? Because your rosters every year are 90 to 95% 4- and 5-star kids. And if you're struggling, that's your own dang fault.
Yep.
While other schools out there that are winning more games with less talent, come on now. You guys have the best talent every year. You have a chance to make a run to the Final Four every year. Some schools, they get that chance like every 8 to 10 years. So I don't feel sorry for any of these blue bloods.
I mean, we were just in the national championship last year. Like, so I can't be like, I'm not one of those type that I'm like, we deserve this for North Carolina or anything like that. Like, kids got to go earn it. And I feel like some of these kids that came back thought that they could come back and just put the jersey on and just make a run. And that's not how it works at all, especially when you're targeted from day one. And they're just, I don't know what they're doing. It doesn't look like Carolina basketball completely, but they got Wake Forest Tuesday.
She'll be so excited when they win. She'll get all into it. And then as soon as they hit a little 2-game losing streak, I hate basketball. I hate sports. I'm like, come on, you're gonna be back.
The refs have it against us. They hate us. They're calling everything all out. How about we stop shooting 30-foot 3-point shots and drive? Maybe we'll get.
Hey, which brings me to my next point. Let's go ahead and talk about this. The most influential basketball players of all time.
Yo, I'm gonna tell you why we mad, son. I'm gonna tell you why we mad, son.
Let's go.
Now, see, last week we was talking, right? And I made a mistake.
You was thinking about this all week. You thought about it all weekend.
No, and so I had said the best basketball players of all time. Okay. Now, when my statement of the best basketball players of all time, let me recorrect and rephrase this: the most influential. Okay. When it's all said and done, bro, I'm already just put them there. But when it's all said and done, Steph Curry gonna be number 3. Okay. Number 3. Okay. The most influential. Okay.
I can live with that.
And then I have put Kobe as number 2, most influential. And I will take that back. I'll take it back. I'm publicly taking that back because I had to reassess, recheck myself. Now, see, my personal favorite list would go Jordan, Kobe, Steph. Personal favorite. Like if I had to choose.
That's the same.
Right? No, it's not. It's not the same. Personal preference isn't factual a lot of the times, right?
It's just what you like. Yeah.
It's just what you like. Like I like wearing black. It's not everybody's favorite color, but I like wearing black. I'm wearing green today. But I like wearing black, right? But I'm gonna have to. I will put LeBron James at number 2, influential, but Steph Curry is number 3.
Because okay.
And then I will put
LeBron. I love LeBron.
I will put Allen Iverson, influential, top 5. I'll put Shaq.
Definitely Shaq.
4 or 6.
You're talking influence. You got to put Magic and Bird in there because none of this happens without Magic and Bird.
Yeah, you right. But I'm telling you this. I'm telling you this. Steph Curry, number 3. I'm gonna just leave it at that, man.
Hold on now, before we go past this, because the reasons you gave for Steph and for Jordan, I'm trying to apply it to LeBron. What is LeBron's signature move? Like, what's the thing that kids are outside trying to do that LeBron does?
No, I'm gonna tell you what it is. Longevity, baby. That man's gonna be playing all his fucking. He's gonna be playing all his life. That's influential, dog. Taking care of your body.
But you can't
the
control
way you train. No, there's a lot of things.
Extent, but
there's the guidance and the measures of the resources that he uses to keep up his body, to be playing the way he's playing at the level that he's playing at. Still, you feel me? This man's still jumping out of the gym like he was when he was 18.
He needs
to get out of there.
That's done. You got your ring out there. You good, but yeah, I mean, it's LeBron's weird. LeBron's a weird thing for me because I love LeBron. LeBron's one of my top 5 favorite players of all time. But then when I break it down, I'm like, okay, can I spot a LeBron James shoe in the wild? Like, what is LeBron James' logo? You know, like what is he? What's his moment? Like, what are his moments? Because when you talk about Jordan or Steph or Magic or Bird or any of those guys, you can come up with Jordan. You can come up with a basket of moments from. And a lot of people don't even count his college career when we talk about greatest. We should include it because the dude was National Player of the Year.
Bro, I'll tell you a moment that happens every game before a game.
No, don't do the no, man.
It's influential, baby.
What is the LeBron James
I didn't
moment?
I didn't even know they had baby powder on the court when they.
It's just him. Besides the run behind block in Game 7 of the NBA Finals against Golden State. Was that on Steph? I think it was. No, actually, it was Iguodala. I think it was that he ran down. Other than that, and then the dunk on the Celtics when he was that still Cleveland? That 25-point fourth quarter he had against the Celtics in the series.
You want to know why you can't come up with one thing?
It's
because every week there's been something.
Nah, man.
Every week
that don't feel right.
Highlights. He got highlights on highlights, man.
That don't feel right.
Think about the D Wade layup.
Oh, with him. Oh,
Miami.
Okay, and that's an iconic picture.
And they in here like this, like dinner served.
And I hate it with LeBron. I don't want to spend too much time on the basketball thing because we got to get to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, let's get to it. Yeah, let's spend about 5 minutes.
It feels like he shouldn't have moved around so much. I think that's my problem with him.
I'm the biggest I don't really care about LeBron that much person out there because I just don't really I don't know. I mean, but at the end of the day, the dude, you can't deny his greatness, right?
No, you can't deny his greatness. I'm reluctant to say he is the greatest.
I'm not saying he's the greatest. Michael Jordan the greatest.
Or even top 3. Yeah, I guess you could put him up there with influence because he's this generation's Jordan. Now, I'm not saying he's at the level of Jordan, but in terms of how we view Jordan, there might be people that view LeBron completely more so than when Jordan was assumed. We saw it with our own eyes. But LeBron, kids fighting about this on social media, like 8-year-olds fighting adults about LeBron being the greatest. And it's like, you were born in 2010. How do you even know? How are you having this argument? But I could see LeBron number 3, influential. Yeah.
Everyone's talking about LeBron and MJ. It's not even that. He's, in my opinion, it's MJ 1, Kobe, then LeBron. I think LeBron still has to pass Kobe yet.
Right. I don't think he's passed Kareem. Even if he passes him in points. Kareem did all this stuff before LeBron. He was that first high school player on the cover of Sports Illustrated, before anybody was. He was the one that went undefeated through his college career. He's the one that had all these records. He's had this record for 37 years or whatever it's been. So I feel like Kareem gets left out of this conversation a lot. Most influential, greatest, all of it. He gets left out of it a lot. He deserves to be in it more often than he is. But I do agree. Kobe's up there. He was in the top 5.
And I hated Kobe too, by the way. When he was a player.
Who?
Rest in peace now. And
you're about to say, you better be careful, boy.
What? No,
let me clarify. When he played, I could not stand Kobe Bryant. I couldn't stand the Lakers because it's kind of that same thing, like the Blue Bloods and all that stuff. But his last year, I started
Kobe.
to finally respect it. And I was like, you know what? Like, I'm rooting for Kobe. Like that, I don't know if it was his final game where he had like 80-some points or 70-some points or whatever.
He scored like 60-something in his lap, but he took like 60 shots, but
And
they
I'm
were giving it to him.
Keep feeding Kobe. And then after the fact, like, you really start to kind of appreciate. And I don't know if it's just because I was getting older and didn't really care about that stuff anymore, but like, and then the whole tragedy, like, I never thought that it like a tragedy like that would hit me so hard, especially for a player that for the longest time I was rooting against.
Mhm.
So, I mean, yeah, I mean, his impact on basketball is global. It's not just in the US.
I would say Kobe has a bigger influence globally than LeBron did, because Kobe kind of conquered China. Like,
Oh, yeah.
you talk about Kobe in China, like, he's considered a god over there for whatever reasons. And yeah, it's an interesting conversation. We'll have some more time to do as we get into off season, but
all I know is Steph Curry is number 3.
You started something.
And Michael Jordan number 1. You can swap LeBron and Kobe back and forth at 3 or 4.
Well, here now, since we're in a ranking
or
mood,
2 and 4, 2 and 4. I mean,
this is something I've been arguing with folks ever since last year. What's the greatest Super Bowl halftime show of all time, in your opinion?
Prince.
See, he's the first one that usually comes up. Other than him playing Purple Rain in the rain with an electric guitar.
He had the marching band out there and everything, bro.
Yeah, he played Let's Go Crazy. Actually, he did some Jimi Hendrix that night.
Yeah, he did it. He's the greatest.
And he finished off Purple Rain in a downpour. One of the messiest Super Bowls of all time. He went out there and did it. That's been one that's been mentioned numerous times. It was my number one. Schuyler, what's your greatest Super Bowl halftime show of all time? People, before you even answer that, people seem to think this happened every year. This really didn't start till 1993 with Michael Jackson, which should be up there too, like top 3 greatest performances of all time.
Well, I put that in number 2. I put that at number 2.
They put the college marching bands out there, like choirs. They had like a magician one year, and then MJ did it, and from that point on, it became what's known today. So,
I mean,
the only reason why I can't say MJ is because in 1993, your boy wasn't watching the Super Bowl, so I can tell you that I can't speak from experience as far as what I feel about it. But I saw Prince, and Prince was off the chain.
93. That was Dallas Buffalo.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Yeah, I was watching that. I was a Dallas fan. Yeah, Dallas Buffalo.
I wasn't even born yet, so
Schuyler, how old are you?
Man, you know what?
Yeah, I'm gonna tell you why we mad, son.
Between what Schuyler just said and then me coming across a thing on Facebook earlier this morning that Get Rich or Die Trying turned 20 years old today. 50, yeah, I'm feeling old. I'm feeling old today. Like what else is gonna happen today to make me feel like I'm 80 years old?
I mean, even though I wasn't alive yet, like, I've seen the MJ performance and it was pretty damn good.
You can see all of them on YouTube now. Yeah, like you can get to all of them.
I may catch some slack for this because this is kind of newer. And personally, like, I don't even really like his music, but I thought
The Weeknd.
Bruno did really good. I thought
Bruno Mars.
I like Bruno. Bruno was good.
I'm trying to find.
That was like 4 or 5 years ago, maybe.
Yeah, it was. I'm trying to find the year.
But I'm not saying it was the great.
2014.
Coldplay, Beyonce, and Bruno Mars, 2016. That was Super Bowl you were in, Stu. Super Bowl 50.
Nah, man, that was 2014. This was 2014. Bruno Mars, wasn't it?
Did he do 2014 too? Hold on, I'm pulling him up because that one.
Oh,
I'm trying to see if he did another one. I think he did do another one.
I thought it was recent, but
that was 2015. I don't see any other one that pops up with Bruno Mars. Although I want to say he's been there twice. I don't see one for 2014 on this list. It's like the top 10 or whatever that I'm peeking at. Beyonce gets honorable mention. In New Orleans, that 49ers Ravens Super Bowl 2013. Is that the one where the power?
Yeah.
And it got delayed for like the Super Bowl got delayed for like 30 minutes, 40 minutes while they were trying to figure this out.
Bruno Mars performed in the 2014 Super Bowl at MetLife.
Who else was with him on that one? Did the show? Because he didn't do it by himself.
Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, he had to have been the headliner in one of them.
Yeah, it probably that. Well, 2016 was after, but he was with Coldplay and Beyonce. Because I don't think he was the headliner of of that one. It had to be the one before. Yeah, that's the one. That's the Panthers Broncos Super Bowl 50. Coldplay, Beyonce, and Bruno Mars. Do you guys get a chance to see the Super Bowl halftime show when you're in the Super Bowl as a player?
Nah. Only thing we saw was Lady Gaga, I think. I can't even remember. I don't even think we saw. Yeah, we saw that.
Oh man, the Panthers actually are part of one of my most memorable Super Bowl halftime shows, and that would be the Janet Jackson Justin Timberlake Super Bowl of 2004. Panthers Patriots.
Was that the split?
Yes, I was actually at a party. Me and my friends watching the Panthers. It'd been the second quarter had gotten pretty exciting, so we were kind of amped up. It's halftime. The show's going on. Everybody in the room is talking to each other. Nobody's looking at the screen except for me and one friend on the other side of the couch, way over on like this L-shaped couch. And we're just sitting there watching it, and it happened. And when it happened, we both jumped up like, oh, and we looked at each other. Did you see that? And we looked around, and no one had seen it. No one in the room. They were like, what happened? What happened? And I can't really say what we said out loud, but we're like, it came out, and like we were going on about it. We were trying to. This is 2004. You can't just get online and like find a clip of it in 2004, or whatever. You know that you just couldn't do it that way. But that ruined Janet Jackson's career. If you think back on it, like from where she was to where she was after, it's kind of unfair. Justin Timberlake didn't get anything off of that really, but no bad.
You want to know something? You want to know something crazy?
Yeah,
I just realized I had no clue what performances were going on during the Super Bowl.
Oh, with the one you were in? You didn't know who was going to be?
I guess your boy, I was so focused or something that I ain't had no time.
It makes me feel better, actually, that you were focused on the game and not who was performing at halftime. That actually makes me feel better.
How difficult is that, though? Because I know the halftimes in the Super Bowl are a little bit longer than a regular game. Like, is that a difference?
It is a difference, like especially if you're injured, like I was, because all you're doing is just getting stiff, and you're thinking about how stiff you're getting and how you need to stay warm and how you're going to go back out there and get right back to the action. But it definitely is a long time waiting. But it's the Super Bowl, they got to make their money.
What is it, 20 minutes or so?
Yeah, it's a while.
I feel like it was like 3 minutes. You might as well call it 30.
Because they got to bring in all the stage and all that stuff, and then they get ready, and then they got to break it all down when it's over. Smoke's got to clear out of there. I don't lie. I mean, I ain't gonna lie. I know it's fresh, but last year's Super Bowl halftime show, I don't know how anybody's gonna top it. And I hear younger folks all the time, like, I don't know about that. I'm like, it wasn't for you. The Super Bowl halftime show last year, it was for me. I'm 45. It was that pocket where if you were in college between 2000 and 2003, when like Shady Aftermath was running everything, it was like 50 Cent, Eminem, Dr. Dre, The Game, all that stuff going on. Like that Super Bowl was the pinnacle. You're never going to get that again.
I completely forgot about that one. That was a really damn good one too. And I love that like era of music too, even though I was very young. But
we was on a party in my house. Like it was me and my wife, and like my kid came walking through, like, what's going on? But like the songs that they were playing, they didn't even announce 50 Cent. He just popped in as a surprise. Like
it was just a super nostalgic moment.
Yeah,
like taking you back in time during the halftime show,
and all that music. It just still sounds good. Like, I'm sorry, I'm a big mark for Dr. Dre. I do a lot of audio stuff, and like to me, Dr. Dre's ear is just like pinnacle when it comes to like production and like making sure your stuff sounds tight and clean and like you can hear everything. And he's just, to me, I've taken so many different like techniques and teachings and stuff that he's had out there just to make my production sound a little bit better. And to have all that stuff on the stage at the same time and realize that he orchestrated all this. Like he's literally the godfather to me of hip hop. Like
You know
he's
what
been
really
40 years.
is
Yeah, last night, Dr. Dre got the Global Impact Award at the Grammys too.
Yeah. So I mean, he did his thing. Snoop smoking on the field is iconic. He crip walked too. They told him not to do it, and he did it. He did it anyway.
What really messed with me is the halftime. It was still daylight out, and I don't know if that's because I had a couple drinks in me or not, but like it was really weird to me that we're sitting here watching the Super Bowl halftime show, and it's perfectly daytime. Like,
oh, we're like on the West Coast or something. Like,
yeah, because it was in LA, I think, and
LA.
it was Rona this year. So,
oh yeah, you're right. It wasn't. Yeah. Trying to think any other ones after Nipplegate, which was the Janet Jackson, Justin Timberlake thing. They kind of went like old school. They had like the Rolling Stones. Then they had like Paul McCartney the year after that. Like they were really worried about something going down.
who would you want to see in it in the next couple years? Both.
Well, a bucket list got checked off last year. I don't know. That's a good question. I'm trying to think of somebody that I really like right now. See, that's my problem. I'm old. I don't like anybody. I don't like anybody new. Like right now, I just have like a full pen drive in my car of just like the top 500 hip hop songs of all time, and I just go through that. Or I'm on Rock the Bells on Sirius XM and listen to old school hip hop all day long, or sports talk. Like I don't really. Who's out there? Like Lizzo?
I mean, I'm just thinking.
Like,
I'm just thinking about like I like artists that have like a lot of features.
Yeah,
like where you can have like there's like a mixture of different types of music, where you have vocals. I mean, shoot, Jay-Z. If Jay-Z did a Super Bowl halftime like show,
well, he's the one. Rock Nation's the one.
How
That
ironic would it be
produces
if
this
Carolina made it to the Super Bowl that year?
Huh?
How ironic would it be if Carolina made it to the Super Bowl?
Oh, the year Jay performs.
Yeah, that would be dope.
I could see something like that. Maybe like
because you'll have Alicia Keys out there, like just
Beyonce
kind of doing the thing. Yeah,
now Rihanna's
Rihanna.
headlining. She's headlining it this year.
Yeah, she's headlining this year, but she'll pop up.
Would be good.
I'll make a prediction. I think she's really, really good. And it's not typically the kind of music I listen to, but Billie Eilish can freaking sing.
Yeah,
like a Super Bowl halftime show though.
She will do a halftime show. I guarantee it with probably. I don't want to guarantee any time, but like I feel like at some point she's probably going to get that call.
I could see them inviting like a Harry Styles or somebody like that had a big night last night, from what I saw.
Is
I wouldn't
Drake
mind
in one.
Who?
Drake.
I don't know. I don't think so. Actually, now that I'm thinking about it,
Lil Wayne.
Do like a Cash Money Super Bowl show.
I don't know if it would be popular, but like Kanye.
No, you can't. That ship sailed. We can't do
that. That was maybe like 15 years ago.
Yeah, we could maybe even 3 or 4 years ago. Probably been just fine, but
not now.
Yeah, not now. Like he's done too much. That's probably not going to go down. Let's get into the Super Bowl here and the predictions in this game. Stu, let's start off with you because I want to start with the Eagles and their run game. What do you think is going to be a key to the game for the Eagles to win Super Bowl 57?
They got to run the ball. But I think mainly it's going to come down to RPO decision making for Jalen Hurts. In those situations in the Super Bowl, the nerves, I think it's going to be the difference maker there. If he's making sound decisions, with those play calls, when to give it, when to keep it, when to throw it. I mean, it's all going to come down to Jalen on offense, even though it is the running game that really keeps them afloat. But he's the decision maker for all that. So I think it's really Jalen Hurts, man. It's all you, baby. It's going to be you for the Philly. It's going to be you in Philly, dog.
And the Eagles, the number one scoring offense in the league coming into this game, I believe. And they did their thing throughout the playoffs. They've probably been the best team in the league all year. We've just been kind of looking at them like, are they really? But it's funny. It actually kind of feels like when the Panthers did this in 2015, where y'all were clearly the worst 14-0 team of all time, Stu. If you listen to the media, it is what it is. It just y'all were just awful at 14-0 and number one scoring offense and everything. But it's the same thing with the Eagles. And I'm kind of wondering, is it because Jalen Hurts is the quarterback of this team? Like, if you know what I mean? Like, is that why they keep saying these things about the Eagles? If it was somebody else, if it was Carson Wentz leading the Eagles to this type of season, would they be?
You know what they want. You know they don't want it. They don't want. Listen, man, they have anything and everything to say about a black quarterback. Period. So I'm gonna just keep that there. Put it on a shelf.
If y'all didn't know, the Eagles they're trying to be the third team in NFL history to have won a Super Bowl after beating, I think it was 10 teams that won 10 or more games on their schedule. The only two teams that have ever done that are 2003 and the 2004 New England Patriots. So that's some pretty damn good company if they can do this. But
I want to my comment with Jalen Hurts though. Like, you know, we have two black quarterbacks playing in the Super Bowl. Patrick Mahomes is special. Like, if Patrick Mahomes was like 1 degree less than what he is now, I personally feel they would put Patrick Mahomes in the same category as a Jalen Hurts, which is, oh, he's not that good. Oh, he runs. He makes plays with his legs. He doesn't really know how to really throw from the pocket, you know, or whatever. Patrick Mahomes he barely throw from the pocket. You know what I'm saying? He out there doing all kind of stuff.
It's weird when he does throw from the pocket.
But so like it's just all these expectations that just float around, and it's annoying. But you know, I think Jalen Hurts, he has an opportunity to really showcase something to the world Sunday. And like I said, it's going to come down to him in both the running game and obviously in the passing situations. When the offensive coordinator dials it up, he's got to deliver.
Schuyler, on the other side, what do you think are the keys of the game for Kansas City to defeat this Philly team, who I think they have like the record for sacks in a season too? I think like 70-something sacks or whatever, like this year. And we've seen Pat Mahomes on this stage against a front seven that's given him trouble in Tampa a couple of years ago. And that game did not go the way they wanted for Kansas City. What are you thinking here from the Kansas City side in terms of attacking Philly?
Well, I think you hit it on it first and foremost. You got to keep Pat upright. I mean, everyone wants to forget that ankle injury or foot injury or whatever the heck it was has just kind of gone away. I mean, that's something that could easily pop right back up if he lands on it a certain way or someone lands on it a certain way. So you got to keep him upright, and that's going to be tough to do because this Eagles defensive front is freaking nasty. So have good luck with that. But defensively, I think they've got to create turnovers. And kind of to Stu's point, RPOs are going to be a big part of what Philly does. But if they can force Jalen and the Eagles to kind of get out of that and try to just push the ball down the field in regular just downfield passes, they've got to be able to take advantage and create a couple of extra possessions, because if they do, then this game kind of swings towards Kansas City because that offense is just so hard to stop that at some point, if you give them 2, 3, maybe 4 extra possessions, it may not be an interception from, we can turn over it on downs, something like that. So if you give them extra possessions, I think Kansas City can win this game. But luckily, as part of the media, I got the script.
You pulled the script. So what was
somebody put a script up on Wikipedia already?
Script has been leaked. It's going to be 10-0 after the first quarter, 24-13. Chiefs leading at half. So yeah, great comeback win for the Eagles coming up in the Super Bowl.
Man, look, if it's 10-0 at the end of the first quarter, I'm gonna blow y'all's phones up. Like, is this really going on? Is this really happening? I do think it's gonna be a battle in the trenches. It feels like the only way to really rattle Kansas City when they get going is to get to Pat Mahomes. Like you said, like the best line I've ever heard any coach say at any level when talking about a quarterback that had been just destroying defenses is that they can't do anything if they're sitting on their ass. Like literally, like if they can't stand there longer than 3 seconds and get set and do whatever, it don't matter who he got on the outside. It don't matter who the running back is. It don't matter. None of that matters. If he's getting harassed the whole night, because then Pat Mahomes, we've seen it where he gets flustered a little bit if you can do this to him. Now, granted, it's only happened maybe a handful of times his whole career. And the last time we really saw it was Tampa in that Super Bowl, where that offensive line for Kansas City could not block anything. Granted, I think he had like 3 dudes out with injury and some more. We need an update on his skill position players, because Mahomes lost like 3 of his top wide receivers in that AFC Championship game to a variety of injuries. They got 2 weeks. I'd imagine some of them are going to be able to play. Didn't he lose a running back too in that game? Like, they were battered by the time they got through that game with Cincinnati. If they can get the Mahomes, I think the Eagles could pull this off. The team that rushes the best to me have always been the one I kind of lean towards, and that's the Eagles in this instance. That RPO is really hard to stop with Jalen Hurts running it. Like, you can tell he's a coach's son. Like, he kind of understands it. Like, he gets it, and he can relay it to the offense. So I never thought I would say this. I think I'm picking the Eagles to win this game.
I'm going the Eagles too.
Who? We going all 3?
I'm going the Chiefs, man.
Ooh.
And I feel like this is the reason why. I'm going to tell you why. Okay? I'm looking. So if you look at, this is what offensive minds like dream about, right? They dream of being in the Super Bowl and having guys like Sky Moore, Justin Watson, that defenses have not been dialing in on all year, all throughout the playoffs. And for some reason, these guys are going to be in the end zone. And these are the types of plays that happen in Super Bowls that really just kill team. And I feel like there's going to be a couple feature plays that the Chiefs come with that just really put a nail in the coffin. And so I know that they got Patrick Mahomes. They got a running game. Pacheco is going to have to definitely run the rock hard like he's been running.
I like Pacheco.
And then you're going to obviously have Kelsey doing his thing and being, shifty and witty with his route running and whatnot. But it's going to be those guys that I told you about, okay? That we don't hear a lot of noise from, and they're going to get an opportunity. And if they, execute, that's going to be the difference maker for the Chiefs. But if not, then I feel like it's going to be just one of them games where Philly just starts off fast, like they have been doing, and it's just eat the clock up.
I don't want a bad game like that Rams-Patriots game we had last year. Was that last year? Yeah, that was last year. 13-9 or whatever it was. It was just bad football like the whole night. But you felt obligated to say, yeah, Rams-Patriots. Yes. Not Rams-Patriots. Who was it?
I don't think last year was 13.
That wasn't Rams-Patriots last year. That was Tom was still in New England, like, for that one. Last year was Rams.
Oh, the Rams-Patriots. Yeah.
The Rams-Patriots won. The Patriots won. Goff versus Brady. That was 13-9 or whatever it was. Who was it last year? It was Rams versus Chiefs. Yeah. So I just want it to be a good game. I mean, when my team isn't in it and I'm going to spend my night watching the Super Bowl with 2 teams I don't really root for,
they better be scoring, huh?
Yeah, be something, or just I want to see some great defense, just something. Give me something that I can latch onto, because by the end of the game or by the halftime, I'm naturally rooting for one or the other. Like, I just kind of let myself decide without going into who I'm going to root for. I picked the Eagles, but I may start rooting for the Chiefs depending on how the vibe of the game is going.
Yeah, I'm
right there with you, man. So I just want a good game. I just want a real good game. And of course, we'll get into all of that. Again, Rihanna's the Super Bowl halftime show, so that should be good. Who knows who she's going to pull out there? You mentioned Jay-Z earlier when we were talking about halftime shows. Rock Nation's the one that produces the halftime shows now, so maybe we do get a Jay-Z one somewhere down the road. Maybe next year when the Panthers are playing Pat Mahomes and the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. So we'll see.
No, seriously, how ironic would it be if Jay-Z 7 years from the day that Matt Rule said, or the year that Matt Rule said that the Panthers are playing in the Super Bowl, and that's your halftime performance.
Well, I told you not to talk about him no more.
Oh man, we got.
Hey, I told you 7 years.
We got to get out of here. We'll be back next Monday after the Super Bowl. We'll have a recap show for that. Hopefully, we'll have some more news on the Panthers coaching staff at that point. There's still some lower level positions, quarterbacks coach, things like that need to be filled. We'll start to get into all those as well. We'll dive into the off season. We'll finally seriously start sitting down and talking about draft needs. What does this Panthers roster need? Where they are going forward? Some of that's hard to answer till you know who the offensive coordinator is and what they're going to be doing. So we'll get into all of that and more. We got plenty of that coming up for you. Again, presented by betonline.ag. Go get your welcome bonus. Type in the code word Bleav, BLEAV. Get your welcome bonus when you go over there. The video of this, as well as previous episodes, is at youtube.com/@Tobacco Road Sports Radio. The audio, of course, is always on the Bleav Podcast Network, any major podcast platform. Just search Bleav in Panthers or Bleav in Carolina Panthers, and you'll be able to find us there. So for Schuyler Callihan, for Jonathan Stewart, I'm Desmond Johnson. You've been watching and listening to the Bleav in Carolina Panthers podcast on Bleav Podcast Networks. Keep pounding.